And great to have you with us on this Sunday morning, 9:33 the time. And before we get to our next segment, which will be exploring a wonderful, one of my favorite wine regions, actually, in the entire state, Patty and I have some unfinished business when it comes to our trivia questions. We each had one question left that we didn't get to. So, Patty, I am going, and all of our trivia questions are based on our compass word for the hour, which is dry. Patty, fire away.
Okay, this will be quick because I know that you know the answer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What distillery makes a popular liquor located in a dry county?
Oh, okay. Let me think. I'm going to say that is Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I knew you knew it because you mentioned it earlier. Moore County, Tennessee, dry county. So you can't buy the product there, but it's like the world's leading whiskey.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
You can't buy it there.
I just don't understand the whole dry rules at all. Okay, Patty, Furnace Creek. I love the name of that place. Mm-hmm. Furnace Creek in Death Valley is one of the driest places in the United States. Its annual average rainfall is less than an inch, between 2 to 3 inches, or about 10 inches. Less than an inch, 2 to 3 inches. This is annually, all year long.
Annually, all year. And it's Death Valley. I say less than an inch.
You say less than an inch?
Yeah. Not right.
Well... No, the average rainfall in Furnace Creek is 2.33 inches.
Wow.
And just to give you like a comparison, Santa Barbara gets 17 inches a year, or about 17 inches a year. So
I was going to say that you, like in the monsoon season, they get all the 10 inches at one time or something. Right. It was a trick question.
Now, not Furnace Creek, but Dry Creek is where we're headed now. The Dry Creek Valley, as a matter of fact. And this is north of Santa Rosa on Highway 1. If you were headed into Sonoma County and wanted to do some wine tasting, Healdsburg is a fantastic place to stop and make it your home base to explore the Dry Creek Valley. Winemaker Eric Miller joins us right now from Kokomo Wines, and he's a member of the Wine Growers of the Dry Creek Valley. Eric, great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah, so Dry Creek Valley, I always thought of those wineries up that direction. My sister lives in Santa Rosa, and so my grandmother lived there as I was growing up. So I always thought about it, but I never thought of them being sort of collectively together as one place. Has the Dry Creek Valley region grown as an appellation quite a bit over the last couple of decades?
No, not at all. It was formed in 1983, and it's as far as square footage, it hasn't grown at all. As far as wineries, a number of wineries that have opened up in the area, certainly there's been some more wineries open up because it is such a great area. But no, it's 2 miles by about 16 miles long, and it hasn't grown a bit.
But it hasn't grown in the sense of gaining, a name for itself. We've seen some of the wine regions really, Paso Robles is one of them that's really been acclaimed. So do you have sort of a following?
Oh, yeah. I mean, with the town of Healdsburg and the, how Healdsburg's grown in the last, several years and stuff, Dry Creek certainly has become a big destination for folks to come to. I mean, it's the wines have been getting a lot of acclaim, and like I said, there's probably, 60, 70 wineries now in Dry Creek. That's probably doubled in the last, 10 years. So,
What are the boundaries of the Dry Creek going region?
Well, you said it's north of Santa Rosa on 101, and it goes from, right there in Healdsburg, right off of 101, and it goes all the way to Lake Sonoma, essentially, which is the dam that was created in the mid '80s or sometime there. So
I remember I've water skied on that lake. In fact, my parents were nice enough. We used to explore on the weekends. One of the reasons maybe why I am in this position now. But we would take drives along that, knowing that it was going to be filled up as a lake. We would take drives through that region and look at it and say, "This is all going to be underwater one day."
I never got an opportunity to do that. I've heard stories and stuff. I didn't move into the area till 11 or so years ago, so I didn't get an opportunity to see it. But I've heard stories, so yeah, I'm sure that was pretty cool.
Now, the Russian River runs through the Dry Creek appellation, but there's also a Dry Creek, correct?
That's right, yeah. Dry Creek is a tributary to the Russian River, and it's really unique. If you look at a map, that the Russian River actually takes a 90-degree bend right at Healdsburg there to let out in Jenner, so it's a significant place for the river. But yeah, Dry Creek is one of the main tributaries there to Russian River, and of course fed by Lake Sonoma now. So
is it I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, ephemeral, which means, I think I have that word right, which means that it is dry for a portion of the year. Is that why it's called Dry Creek?
You know, it definitely was dry for a lot of the year throughout the summer, and then would flood in the winter. And so now it runs all year round. I mean, we kind of let some of the water out of Lake Sonoma, so it's actually not dry this time of the year, and it's actually a pretty big important thing for the salmon and the restoration of the salmon project for the Russian River.
But
so.
Too late to change the name of everything to Wet Creek. So
yeah, that doesn't have the same appeal,
Right, that would mess things up. Now, what about this region makes it great for the sparkling wines?
Oh, it's Sonoma County, which is just phenomenal for wine region as a whole. But it's tucked in between Russian River and Alexander Valley. So you have Russian River that's of course world famous for the Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and a cooler region because of the Russian River's influence there, bringing up all the fog from the coast, and then Alexander Valley, which is because of that 90-degree bend in the Russian River, it's considerably warmer there. Great for the Cabernets and Merlots and things like that. So Dry Creek kind of just nestled right in between the those two appellations, and it's just with its soil types that it has and how narrow the valley is and things like that. It's just the cool nights, of course. It just makes an ideal place for wine grapes. So.
We're speaking with winemaker Eric Miller from Kokomo Wines and the wine growers of the Dry Creek Valley Association. Did I read somewhere, it might have been on the wine growers website, that Zinfandel is one of the main varietals there?
It is. We have the highest concentration of old vine Zinfandel or ancient vine Zinfandel in the world.
Okay, we're getting in the car right now, packing up, we're headed. I'm there.
Let's go.
Seriously, that's my favorite varietal.
Yeah, well, it definitely does very well there, and it has a big history in Dry Creek, and it's definitely what we're known for. But we like to showcase some of the other varietals that do very well in Dry Creek as well, and I think we're just starting to get into some of those. I mean, Sauvignon Blanc probably secondly, and a lot of people planting Grenache in Dry Creek Valley, and it seems to do very well there as well.
Oh, Grenache, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Kokomo is the name of your winery. Does that have anything to do with the Beach Boys song? Every time
I hear that all the time.
I bet.
So it's nothing to do with the Beach Boys. It's actually my hometown. I was born and raised in Kokomo, Indiana. And, so a little tribute to the hometown by naming my winery after my hometown there, and we're located right in the middle of Dry Creek. I would say probably a mile and a half past the general store. So.
And is yours a reservation type of place, or are you open to the public?
We're open. Yeah, we're open every day. 11 to 4:30. So yeah, we're on the east bench of Dry Creek. I mean, I really think Dry Creek has several. We call it terroir, which is like unique growing spots, or have some sense of place throughout Dry Creek. We're on the east bench, so it's kind of a plateau on the east side of the valley, which definitely has a significant place. It's a lot of gravelly soil, the red clay soil up there, and and elevated a little bit. So. It's a little different than the west side. The east side tends to get a little, more of that afternoon sun as it's setting in the west, so we get more of that intense sun over there. But the west side, probably a little bit more of the morning sun, so a little different flavors on each side of the valley. But I do get grapes from throughout Dry Creek, even Rockpile, which Rockpile is at the end, and even a little past Lake Sonoma, but that's a sub-appellation and of Dry Creek and its own appellation. So, but yeah, we do 5 different Zinfandels from the valley, and dramatically different, each one. So.
And that's mainly based on the. I'm afraid to even try to pronounce this terroir.
Yeah, I know.
The soil.
The French
word.
gave us a word that I don't think we have a good translation for in English, which comes from the word territory, but it's really just talking about sense of place, which is so important in winemaking.
It is, and I was just reading yesterday. It's the guy from Bonnie Doon, Randall Graham.
Correct.
Yeah, Randall Graham is focusing on this and talking about this. He has a new book out. I want to get him on the show, actually, to discuss it. That the soil, the place, everything really makes a difference from one grape to the next, even if it's the exact same varietal grown in the same fashion.
That's right. I mean, and that's why wine is what wine is. I feel like, that's what makes it such a collector's item and makes it so limited and unique is because, you may grow Zinfandel in other places or Cabernet, but our particular vineyard is our vineyard, which has its own soil type and its own microclimate, and And, it also has something to do with age of the vines. We really don't feel like there's a huge sense of terroir till the vines get, 10, 15, and even 20 to 30 years old, where they've had a chance to live in, one environment for an extended amount of time. But that's definitely the really cool thing about it, and I feel like my job as a winemaker is to really highlight that sense of place, make sure that that's what shows through the wine. So.
On the note of the age of the vines, do I understand this correctly that the term old vine gets thrown around a lot and put on labels, but technically there is no California labeling rule when it comes to old vine?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we're hoping to get that, somewhat changed. I know 50 years old seems to be something that a lot of people talk about for old vine, but when you go over to Burgundy in France, they say, anything 30 and older can be called Grand Cru, so they obviously see something significant about that, 30 and older, but there is, for ancient vines or for century vines, that does, speak of vines to be over 100 years old, and we have quite a few of those in Dry Creek. So there is a designate for at least, those vines, but as far as old vine, it can be thrown around pretty. I mean, you can put, on a 15-year-old vine, old vine, and that's, as we know, that's probably not good for the consumers.
So Grand Cru is the translation?
Well, Grand Cru, if you have a Grand Cru Burgundy, the vines have to be at least 30 years or older,
Right.
So
Okay.
that's kind of where they're saying that they're starting to really come into their adulthood, if you will.
Right. Well, the Dry Creek Valley, a destination the month of September for California Wine Month, one to definitely check out. Make sure you schedule at least one dinner or lunch in Healdsburg. It has really become a foodie city. Thank you so much, Eric Miller with Kokomo Wines.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, stick around. We're headed to the driest place in all of California, or at least
Can't wait.
close to it. Yeah. We're back in just a moment on this Sunday morning. It's time to channel your inner cowboy or cowgirl with a bit of rustic elegance thrown in for an upcoming culinary experience in Paso Robles at Windfall Farms, an exclusive community that promotes and enhances the sustainability of local agriculture and celebrates equestrian, ranch, and agrarian lifestyles. The Paso Glow event is taking place Saturday evening, September the 29th, from 6 to 10 on the final night of this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September 27th through the 30th, to culminate California Wine Month. The event will wow you with ranch-inspired delicacies prepared by the area's top chefs, the region's best wines, and the warm glow of many illuminated hot air balloons. To purchase tickets and for a full listing of activities, head to SavorCentralCoast.com.